welcome to a second chance. This is our Barbershop Talk segment where we talk directly to men about their health and their health choices. My name is Philip Jones.
And I'm Tafaro Cook, two-time kidney transplant recipient and founder of Kidney Care Coaches, where we coach people with stage 3 to stage 5 kidney disease. If you or you know someone who has kidney disease challenges and needs help with those challenges, hit us up at kidneycarecoaches.com.
So today we're gonna go back to what we talked about on Sunday about about brain health in men. So today's topic is called "What is smiling depression?" So it says smiling depression is a term doctors use to describe when a person marks their depression behind a smile. Someone with smiling depression looks happy on the outside when in reality they may be struggling with feelings or internal hopelessness and sadness. As they can hide their depression so well, people with smiling depression often fail to get the treatment they desperately need. People who live with this type of untreated depression may be at higher risk of hurting themselves and of death by suicide. Although it may be difficult to recognize, doctors can treat smiling depression with medications and other behavioral therapies. Keep reading to learn more about what smiling depression is, how it compares with other types of depression, and how doctors treat it.
Yeah, that's big, man. Smiling depression is not a medical diagnosis. Instead, it is a term of mental health professionals use to describe people with a depressive disorder who hide their symptoms from others. People with smiling depression can carry on with most day to day activities, yet they are privately struggling with a serious mood disorder. That's big right there. Depression is not the same as the blues or occasional feelings of sadness. With normal sadness, there's usually a reason behind it, and it lasts for a short while before going away. With depression, often the sadness does not lift for long periods, making a person feel there's no possible relief to their feelings of gloom and despair. Depression is an all consuming, ongoing state that can significantly impact a person's ability to function. Depression is a common mood disorder. Globally, the World Health Organization estimates that there are more than 264 million people of all ages with depression. That's quite a bit, man. Damn, that's a lot. People may try to hide their depression behind smiles for several reasons. These may include, and I'm just going to name a couple of these bullet points for people so you can see if you see these signs in people, they might have tendencies of smiling depression. They worry what others will think. Ooh, that's big. A lot of people do that. A lot of people are so concerned about what people think, man, that they live in a way where they don't even know who they are because they're so trying to make everybody want them. They want everybody else to be happy with them. So they worry about so much what other people think. That's big right there. They do not want to burden others. Hmm. They feel jobless, lost. They fear job loss. That's true. Yep. They think the depression will go away if they pretend to be happy. That's depressed. They do not know how to get help. Man, there are many different forms of depression. Hiding depression behind a smile can occur with any of the following mood disorders. Go ahead.
Symptoms and signs. Despite their outward smile and pretension to be happy, people with smiling depression are still experiencing typical symptoms of depression. Symptoms tend to develop gradually over days or weeks and can vary greatly from person to person. These symptoms may include depressed mood, fatigue, lack of energy or exhaustion. And it takes a lot out of you trying to be somebody else that you're not.
Whew.
So, you know,
Mm-hmm.
bouts of irritability or mood swings, anxiety of tendencies to worry. You worry that that mask that you put on is coming off somehow, and people are starting to see through that mask that you're wearing on a day to day basis. Recurrent thoughts of death or suicidal ideation or intent, feelings of worthlessness, guilt, or hopelessness, obsessive rumination or intrusive thoughts, loss of
Mm-hmm.
interest in pleasurable activities. Yeah, when you starting to act like somebody else, you're acting like yourself. You start wanting to do the things that you or imagine that other person would want to do instead of the things that you like to do, personally inside. Um, Changes in appetite or weight, avoidance of social interactions or events, difficulty with concentration or making decisions, sleep problems. That definitely cause some sleep problems. Those suffering from classic forms of depression might have suicide, but not the energy to act on them. However, as people with smiling depression are able to go to work and look as if they may have the energy to plan and end their life by suicide.
You know, I'm gonna talk about these treatments real quick, but I I experienced I didn't experience this, but I've seen people experience these things, man, where they act real normal and then do something off the chain, and you be like, where did that come from? You know what I'm saying? Have you ever experienced somebody who and when I'm listening to this, as we read, I'm like, man, I think I've seen people with this, where they're normal, they're doing their everyday lives, and then something snaps in them, man, and they just do something weird. I had a roommate like that, man, that everything was going fine, and then they did something weird, and I was like to myself, like, that is so uncharacteristic for this person to do that. Where did that come from? What was you thinking? And this can be it, where somebody's being a certain way for a period of time because they're putting that big mask on what we talked about, and then all of a sudden they can't do it anymore. They just snap and do something out of character for that person. And what's crazy is I never thought it was depression. I never thought, that didn't even, hit my mind when it happened because it happened such a long time ago. But now as I read these
Mm.
signs and things, I'm like, that could have been it. It's crazy.
Yeah, definitely. I
Um,
mean, I think we all, meet somebody um, that's like that at least one time in our life. And like they said, it's of all ages. So you never know. It's older, younger. I mean, at that time you don't know because if you were younger, you might catch on to it at an older age. But it's like you said, those their characteristics aren't like them. They kind of go. It's like they shift into a whole different person. Into the way they act. And so I think what I think happens is after a certain amount of time, their body and them is used to playing the role of somebody else that they get stuck in that
mm,
role. They get
mm,
stuck in that role. So and they can't shake it off after a certain amount of time.
mm,
It's just like that's like a prime example. If you took somebody from the play Hamilton, asked them for a specific in that play, the people who did that play that year, they'd be able to recite it like this because memory is there consistently.
right.
They've said it so many times and acted that part so many times that it would be to that role and recite that line
Right.
that you would ask them to recite. So yeah,
Right.
that's what I think. I just think it's like I said, repetition of being that person that they're really not, and they actually end up becoming that person.
That's big now. Um, some treatment right here. Uh, treatment. Doctors treat smiling depression similar to any other depression disorder. Treatment varies depending on the severity of the symptoms and often involves a combination of treatment options as follows. Medication. There are several classes of prescription medications available to treat depression. It can take a few weeks before the medication starts to work. A person with depression should be followed closely by a doctor during this time period. I think they should be followed by a friend too, somebody close to them, because of I don't know if I don't know if the doctor can be with them as much. So somebody, maybe a
Yeah.
caregiver or something like that. Psychotherapy. Psychotherapy, also known as talk therapy, is a treatment technique that mental health professionals use to help a person understand their thoughts and feelings in order to learn healthy coping skills. There are different types of psychotherapy, including cognitive, psychodynamics, group, interpersonal, and family therapy. Stress management. Chronic stress or the inability to manage stress can contribute to the development of depression. Learning and practicing stress management techniques and lifestyle measures can help a person manage depressive symptoms. Nutrition. Eating a wide variety of nutritious foods, including colorful fruits and vegetables and healthful fats, may help lessen some depressive symptoms. Exercise. Exercise can help to prevent depression as well as treat the symptoms, even if a person with depression does not have the energy to do much more than short walks. Some physical activity is better than none. Light therapy. Bright light therapy using a light box may help treat seasonal affective disorder as well as non-seasonal depression. Electroconvulsive therapy is a safe, controlled procedure for treating certain types of depressive disorders that have not responded to other treatments. This is the only thing I got to say about all those. Those treatments are very, very good, but we're talking about men here. I can see men doing some changing their exercise and nutrition. I can even see some men, try to, help some stress. Maybe, talk to somebody, for therapy and stuff like that. But I have a challenge with. I don't think too many men. This is just my personal theory. I don't know if any too many men are going to be doing like taking medication for it, especially when they don't think, especially when they're thinking they're fine. And
Right.
you had to show them some concrete evidence. How do we change that? Because we have to show them some concrete evidence that they're not well. But what's your thoughts on that? What's your thoughts on would they do light therapy and this other one, electrocontrusive therapy and light therapy? I don't know if some men will do that, man. That's just, mm, I'm kind of skeptical on those therapies. And like again, we're talking about for men. We're not talking about women right here. We're talking about just men. So, what's your thoughts on those treatments?
I'm fine with all of them except medication. I think all of them except medication are less invasive. Because with medication, those can take everlasting holds on you. And so the one thing that I'll say is, um, if anything that you can control out of this is going to be your exercise and your nutrition. And we touch on this a lot, on this channel is your exercise and nutrition be key component to your daily life. But the one thing that I will say is that I'm gonna bring something up that probably ain't heard in a billion years from when y'all was in school. But if y'all remember when y'all used to take those like statewide tests and stuff, that always give you a granola bar or something like that, tell you to eat something because your brain works better when it's fed, and it
Mm-hmm.
just kind of goes with this, eating those nutritious foods, those green vegetables, those colored vegetables, those fruits, those things like that. That's what's gonna get you that nutrients, in your system and in your body, to continue to keep going, and keep that brain going, So definitely, have a great nutritious diet. Exercise, like we ain't telling you going to the gym, trying to bang 300 as soon as you get in there. If you got to take a walk around your backyard, 4 or 5 times or whatever, then start there. Um, like when I was talking to the nurse today when she called about she said, the one thing that they do is start off by walking 5 to 10 minutes, about 3 or 4 times a day when you get home. And so, and
That's
then
what she told
gradually,
you. That's what she told you.
move up.
She told you that.
Yeah.
She told you that.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. So, it's not just for, and you'll find out by the shows that we do that these things aren't just good for one specific thing. They're good for everything throughout your body. Exercising and nutrition are those that you can control yourself, that puts you in a good position to strive and live a good quality of life. So, I'm done.
You hit it on the head, man. Like you said, I'm a big proponent of the things you can do on your own. We always talk about that, even off camera. Phil and I always talk about, exercise, nutrition, those things like that. And again, those things you can control on your own. So that's, for men, as you can see, if you hear us talking, you've been hearing us talk. And when we talk about something, exercise comes up a lot, nutrition comes up a lot. Men, we really start having to be conscious of our exercise and nutrition because when you do those two things, you you combat a lot of problems that can happen. You know what I'm saying, Phil? You combat a lot of things
Right.
that you just don't even have to worry about. You take that off your plate, and it also builds up your confidence. It helps you with your testosterone. It makes you stronger as a man. Who doesn't want those things? So again, and it
Right.
combats a whole bunch of things that we talk about all the time, right? So I agree with you on those, man, 100% fully. So that's true. But I'm glad we did something like this because that smiling depression is big, man. I never, wow, to put a name on it, and like that, like the article said, it's not a it's not a now a term, but it is a term. I believe eventually it's going to be a real big
Mhm.
term where it's going to be clinical, like hey, smiling depression. Because I think when you do see somebody depressed, more than likely they're not walking around like, oh, I just feel bad. Nah, they acting normal as heck. If it's 264 million people
Right.
who are diagnosed, a lot of them are just walking around just normal as can be. So that lets you know that smiling depression plays a super huge part in all this that we're talking about. Because can't nobody look at nobody and say, "Are you depressed?" You just can't look at somebody and say that. They could just be down that day. They could be the happiest person ever, but they just one day they might not be, feeling good, but you can't say they're depressed. So how does that work?
Yeah. Most definitely. But um, yeah, man, that was a
Great article, great talk.
great subject on.
Yes.
Oh yeah, most definitely. So Um, not next week, right? Because you'll be gone.
Uh, Sunday, Sunday, Sunday works for me. I thought we were going to do. We're talking to our caregiver, Taz.
Yeah, well, I was talking
So,
about for Barbershop Talk itself.
oh, okay. Sunday works. Let's talk offline. So we'll talk. Let's talk. Then we could just say what we can do.
Okay. All right. Well, great show, Mr. Cook. We appreciate everybody that watched live. Is gonna watch the replay like always. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the comments. We'll definitely come back to them and answer them. If we don't have anybody that does, then we'll get that answer for you. Um, definitely, definitely drop the comment. We look forward to love. So we appreciate you all for tuning in and watching. Like I said, it was live with a replay, and we'll see you all on Sunday.
Peace.